All right, let's just get right into it. For decades, we've basically built our entire digital lives on a foundation of trust. Trusted encryption. It protects everything, from our bank accounts to our deepest state secrets. But there's a new kind of computer on the horizon, and it's threatening to just completely shatter that digital trust. And this isn't some far-off sci-fi movie plot. No, this is a real, clear, and present danger. And for the very first time, we can actually see the storm clouds gathering.
And that right there, that's what makes this whole situation so wild. Think about past cyber threats, like the Heartbleed bug. They just hit us out of nowhere, right? Total surprise. This is different. This is a vulnerability we know is coming. For the first time in history, we have a pretty good idea of when our digital doomsday is scheduled. It's a moment security experts are calling Q-Day, and it's the day when quantum computers will finally be powerful enough to break the encryption that holds our entire world together.
So, what is it about these new machines that makes them so incredibly dangerous? Well, it all boils down to a fundamental difference in how they work. The computers we use every day, the ones in our phones, our laptops, they run on bits, simple zeros and ones. And it turns out they are really, really bad at one specific kind of math problem, factoring enormous numbers. Our whole system of public key encryption is built on that one simple fact, that it's just too hard for them. But quantum computers? They use these mind-bending things called qubits, which can be a 0 and a 1 at the exact same time. This lets them explore a bazillion possibilities all at once, making them perfectly, and I mean perfectly, suited to solve exactly that kind of math problem with terrifying speed.
Okay, so to really understand the threat, we need to look at the specific weapons in this new quantum arsenal. Let's break down the algorithms that are causing all this panic. It really comes down to two main culprits. First up, we've got Shor's algorithm. Now, this thing was actually developed way back in 1994. It's the master key, the skeleton key. It can factor those giant numbers and absolutely smash through asymmetric encryption like RSA, which we use for pretty much every secure web connection. Then you've got Grover's algorithm. It's a little different. It doesn't totally break symmetric encryption like AES, but it weakens it a lot. It basically makes brute force attacks way more practical. Think of it like this. It takes a lock with trillions of possible combinations and shrinks it down to a number you could actually try. Together, these two are a full frontal assault on all modern cryptography. And the most chilling part of all this? The danger isn't some theoretical thing that's years away. It's happening right now. Adversaries are using a strategy called harvest now, decrypt later. What does that mean? It means they are actively stealing and stockpiling massive amounts of encrypted data today, knowing that in just a few years, they'll have the quantum keys to unlock every last bit of it. Any secret, corporate data, government communications, even your personal messages sent over the internet today that needs to stay secret for more than a few years is already at risk.
Which, of course, brings us to the most urgent question of all. How much time do we actually have left? Because as you're about to see, that crypto clock is ticking down a whole lot faster than anyone originally thought.
And the reason for this urgency is really coming from two directions. First, the algorithms themselves are getting way smarter. Just back in 2021, researchers figured it would take about 6,000 stable, error-corrected quantum bits, what they call logical qubits, to crack standard encryption. Fast forward to 2025, and new optimizations have completely slashed that number down to just under 1,400. The goalposts are moving closer and closer.
And at the exact same time, the hardware is getting exponentially better. And this isn't some secret, leaked document. This is the public roadmap from IonQ, one of the leaders in quantum hardware. I mean, just look at this progression. They're projecting they'll hit 800 logical qubits in 2027. And then just 1 year later, in 2028, they expect to cross that critical threshold to 1,600.
So let's just put those two pieces together for a second. The latest research says we need 1,399 logical qubits to break the internet's most common form of encryption. And a major hardware company is on the record saying they expect to have a machine with over 1,600 logical qubits by 2028. The timelines are converging, and man, they are converging alarmingly fast.
And this isn't just one company's optimistic guess either. Just look at IBM, a total giant in this field that has, get this, never missed a roadmap deadline. Their plan is actually more conservative, but even they are still projecting they'll hit 2,000 logical qubits by 2033. So no matter how you slice it, a quantum computer that can break our crypto is expected to arrive well before those original government deadlines of 2035.
Okay, so that's the terrifying part. But the good news is, researchers and cryptographers aren't just sitting around waiting for the digital sky to fall. So let's talk about the defense plan, post-quantum cryptography. The solution is this whole new field of math called post-quantum cryptography, or PQC for short. And the idea is actually pretty simple. If a new kind of math can break our old locks, well, we just need to build brand new locks based on a different, even harder kind of math, problems that we're pretty sure are tough for both classical and quantum computers to solve.
And this isn't the Wild West, everyone doing their own thing. The U.S. National Institute of Standards and Technology, or NIST, has spent years running this massive global competition to find and standardize the very best PQC algorithms. And the winners are in. The algorithms that are going to become the new backbone of our digital security are primarily Kyber, which is for securely exchanging keys, and dilithium, for creating digital signatures.
So how does this abstract problem of algorithms and qubits translate into the real world? Let's take one of our most sensitive areas as an example, healthcare.
Yeah, this is where that harvest now, decrypt later threat becomes incredibly real. I mean, think about it. You might replace your laptop every 5 years or so, but critical medical devices like MRI machines, they can stay in a hospital in service for 20, sometimes even 30 years or more. That means sensitive patient data that's being sent by one of those machines today could be easily decrypted a decade from now, all while that very same vulnerable machine is still in the hospital scanning new patients.
So you might be wondering, why don't we just flip a switch and upgrade everything tomorrow? Well, the truth is, this transition is incredibly complex. These new PQC algorithms, because they're based on harder math, often have much, much larger key sizes. In some of the early tests by companies like Google and Cloudflare, they found that these bigger keys were literally too big for some of the network hardware to even handle, causing up to 30% of secure connections to just fail.
And that's exactly why organizations need a really methodical plan. It all starts with awareness, making sure everyone, from the engineers writing the code to the executives in the boardroom, understands the threat. Then you have to start prototyping to find and fix those practical issues, like the network problems. But probably the most critical step is creating a complete crypto inventory. You have to do that before you can even begin to plan the final transition. You really can't just jump to the end. And that inventory has a specific name. It's called a crypto bill of materials, or a CBOM. The best way to think about it is like a detailed ingredient list for your software's security. You simply can't protect yourself from the quantum threat if you don't even know where all your old, vulnerable cryptographic ingredients are hiding in your code. For any large organization, this is step one, period.
So, let's just recap where we stand. We have a very clearly defined problem. We have a mathematically sound solution, and we have a practical plan for how to implement it. But when you boil it all down, this is, fundamentally, a race against time.
And right now, as a collective, we are not winning that race. Not even close. A recent survey found that fewer than 20% of internet servers are even capable of using modern PQC-ready protocols. And it gets worse. A scan of 168 million servers found that a meager 6% were actually configured to be quantum-resistant by default. The gap between the threat that's barreling towards us and our collective preparedness is massive, and frankly, it's not closing nearly fast enough.
So the question we really have to ask ourselves is this. Our entire modern world, from finance to healthcare to our own national security, was built on the promise of keeping digital secrets. So what happens to that world when the master key to unlock everything is no longer just a theoretical concept, but a piece of hardware that's only a few short years away?